I mean, I hate to pick on it, like accounting, for example. I know a lot of people kind of just go that route because it's safe, and you don't. No one's like. I mean, I'm sure there are people that are very interested in accounting, but I wouldn't say your average student is like super passionate about accounting. Whereas in real estate, it's so tight knit. I know like all of my classmates, because we have all of our classes together. A lot of them are part of the real estate club as executives or as students, so I see them there. And then the profs, like I personally know all of the real estate profs because I've just gotten a chance to know them through class.
Right, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Hema. So you kind of hit the nail on the head here. Real estate is one of the biggest industries in Vancouver. And the UBC real estate specialization is really new to Sauder. So, and it's one of the very few in Canada. So it's definitely an interesting opportunity. So as Hema mentioned, my name's Rohet. So I'm in my 4th year here at Sauder, and obviously my last year. So I'm in my 2nd year of the specialization. And he also mentioned I'm part of the real estate club. So the club is considered like its own separate entity from the specialization, but they work in harmony a little bit. Like a lot of the professors help us in the club, and the club refers students to the specialization and stuff. So they kind of go hand in hand. That's a large part of how I got exposure to real estate. Was in my 1st year, I joined the club as a student member, so I got to experience a lot of the events. And a lot of the events are networking, right? So you'll go, the companies will have people there. You just talk to them the whole night, get to know them, get to understand how the company works, that kind of stuff. So that was my introduction to the industry. And then in 2nd year, I thought, okay, I want to take this a little further. I joined the club as an executive member. And then from there, I built up. I was an executive assistant to start 1st year or 2nd year, and then VP finance. And then this year, obviously, in president. I think if you have any sort of interest in real estate, the real estate club is definitely a good way to like dip your feet in without fully committing to the specialization, if that makes sense. So you kind of get a feel of how things work. But the specialization itself, I would recommend it to anyone because they build such a good foundation in 3rd year of real estate information. Like you don't have to know really anything to come into it. You just have to have somewhat of an interest. If you're not interested in it, I definitely wouldn't recommend it because it kind of requires that passion to build on it. I know.
Yeah.
And your professors will repeat year over year, right? So you'll have the same professors in year 3 and
that's
year
really
4.
Cool. That's actually really cool. I don't think any other specialization has that because you kind of just move on to like other profs.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really nice in that sense. Like, you in 3rd year, you're a little scared. You don't know what to expect, and they kind of ease you into it. And then it's also on yourself. You got to reach out to them and build that relationship, right? And go to office hours and talk to them after class. But if you do that, then you'll really see the benefits in year 4, like I am right now, where I already have those relationships built.
Yeah, you bring up a good point about one, it being a newer specialization, and also about the fact that it's so tightly knit. I think a lot of students generally benefit when they have a community to fall back on. Just try and define real estate to those who are interested in it.
So the real estate specialization the goal is to expose you to a little bit of everything, right? So they'll teach you how to write contracts. They'll teach you how to build pro formas, which is more the finance side. They'll teach you a little bit about appraisal. And then also you can supplement that with the real estate club events, right? We'll have people from these industries coming as well, so you can get a bit more information on that. And then at the end of it, you'll kind of have exposure to everything. And then it's up to you to see, okay, I like this, I don't like this. I kind of see myself fitting in here.
And what's your choice? Like, what did you like the most in everything that you've been exposed to so far?
Yeah, the big one for me is development. And I think that's a popular one. People seem to really gravitate towards it, especially in Vancouver, right? It's such a hot industry.
100%.
Yeah, and I'm hopefully, so right now, obviously, I'm kind of thinking about where I'm going to end up next year and moving forward. So I've kind of been thinking about it, and I'm definitely leaning towards like the land acquisition side of things. So how to find, first of all, how to find land, how to value it, and then how to like move forward and purchase it.
And right? That's development.
Yeah, exactly. So you would buy the land, and then you would basically pass it off to the construction side of things. And I would love to be involved in the construction side of things. And when talking to these companies at our real estate events, one thing that they've always mentioned is that you need to know how everything works.
Mhm.
You can't just be like, okay, I'm a land guy. I'm only going to understand how land
And
works.
why is that
You need
important? Why is it important to know like, I guess, have a broader understanding of everything?
Yeah. So I think the way real estate functions, it's so interconnected.
Hmm.
So you on a daily basis are working with every other team,
Hmm.
right? So it's not like because you're all kind of working towards that final built tangible product, right? So everything needs to pass through this team, this team, this team, and each team is kind of working with each other.
Hmm.
So if you don't understand what the other team's doing, you can't really get a feel of what they need or how to work with them properly, right?
Right.
So that's definitely a key piece of advice to give to younger students, and I think it applies to a lot of industries.
Hmm.
But I just know specifically in real estate, what I've heard is that you need to make sure that you understand the whole gamut of real estate.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about some courses that you personally really liked while taking real estate, and also some profs that you're like, oh, this person's my favorite.
Right. Okay. I mean, I can go profs to start because it's really easy. Like, there's only in your five real estate classes, there's only three profs, right?
Oh,
So
damn.
so you'll get all of them first of all because they all teach different classes. But like, there's Sir, who's kind of your first dip into real estate, and he's like such a character. He's a really fun guy. There's Sang Hoon, who I had as well in third year, and I'm gonna have him again in fourth year. He teaches more of like the math economics classes. So he is like super smart. Like, you can just tell this guy
Yeah,
knows
he
like
teaches math.
math.
I'm not surprised.
And then lastly, there's Thomas Davidoff, who I have right now actually. So he's my real estate finance prof, and I'll talk about these classes a little bit. But he is like your finance guy. Like, he is like super dialed in. He like loves talking about finance, anything economic related. Like, we learn about mortgage rates, and he'll spin off for 15 minutes and talk about his mortgage renewal that he just went through and how he like negotiated with this bank and how he got a low rate. And he loves talking about that stuff, right? And in terms of classes, there's actually one class specifically that comes to mind. It's a real estate elective called Com Law, or sorry, not Com Law, Real Estate Law. Com 434 is the class
Mhm.
code. It's taught by Alicia Salzberg. I don't know if you had her
Alicia's
for.
the goat. She's such a good prof. I've never had her, but I've like talked to her and I met her.
Yeah,
She's such a good prof.
yeah. So she teaches this class, and basically it gets you. This class counts towards your realtors and brokers
Oh, damn.
license.
Okay.
So if you do that class on top of your five real estate classes, you'll graduate with your realtor's license.
What are some specializations that complement real estate really well? And are there any courses in or outside of Sauder that are really good to just take with real estate?
Okay, yeah. So to pair with it, the really common one you'll see is finance and real estate. And that was actually what I was considering leading up to my specialization really closely. The other one that kind of came to mind as a bit more unique would be marketing and real estate, I think. Those two are interesting because within, like, if you work in commercial or residential real estate, a lot of it is how to market the property, how to sell properties, right? How to understand the whole sales process. So I think marketing is a huge part of real estate, especially moving forward, given there's so many different platforms, right? There's so many different ways of doing marketing. So having a good background of marketing to build on real estate, I think would be definitely awesome. And I think it's only getting bigger as you move forward. So I'd strongly recommend considering those
Mhm.
two as potential pairs.
So tell us what companies are in Vancouver or in Canada in specific, like, or wherever, that are good for like known for hiring real estate students or kids with real estate backgrounds, and what kind of work
Yeah.
placements can you get?
So a few that come to mind, like in terms of development, you've got like the big developers in Vancouver, like Bosa. You got BD, those kind of guys. You got Mosaic Homes. They're a bit on the medium side of things. So there's a huge variety of the size of the company that you go to. Bosa is very hands on. They're a family company. They're family owned, right? So you'll have the CEO of the company is sitting in the same office space as you guys, right? Like you're all working hands on together. BD, very similar vibe. They're family owned, right? There's different avenues so that's development. You've got brokerage, you've got Avis and Young, CBRE, and these are all sponsors of the
Mhm.
real estate club. So at our events, we'll bring people from all of these companies to come
That's
speak to
super helpful.
students.
And on that note, Rohit, thank you so much for taking this time to chat about real estate. I know that this level of detail, not many people have it. So for those who are listening, I know how valuable this can be. But yeah, appreciate you turning out today and talking about real estate. And for the rest of you who listen to the entire podcast, thank you so much for tuning in to the UBC podcast.